sharing your stories and playing your songs on Graham's JFDI Show.
Oh, there we go. I was assured short and sharp was the way to go. Welcome back to the JFDI Show. 8 p.m. on Thursday night, and it's the 18th of August. I'm very excited to be back with you. It's been too long. Too long. I hope anybody that's been watching enjoyed the outside broadcast from a couple of weeks ago with Dolly Deacon. I thoroughly enjoyed not only catching up with him, but editing that video. 83 years old and on top form. If you've not watched it, check it out. Anyway, that was a couple of weeks ago. And we'll be back next week. But tonight, we're right here, right now. And I've got a young lady to introduce you to this evening that I first met back in 1990. So it shows that, yep, I'm not young and maybe young. In her minds, yes, absolutely still young. But as my daughter reminds me frequently, old man, she says. So anyway, how many years since I first met this evening's guest? Over 30, I'm guessing. And you know what? I've not said this to her, but I'll say it right now as I introduce her. She still looks the same as she did back then. So she's been drinking from that fountain of youth, I think. Shall we get her on? Do you want to know who it is? Oh, you know, don't you? Because I put the advert out last night. Well, listen, it's my absolute privilege to bring onto the JFDI show Mrs. Billie Wilson, and you might remember her from way back then as Kershaw. Good evening. What was the nickname?
Hello, BJ.
How nice.
Yes, very charming.
But your middle name is it Josephine?
Billie Joy is my middle name. My first name's Serena.
That's it. Serena. Yes.
Yeah.
But BJ. There we go. Do you
Totally unfounded.
Does anybody call you that anymore?
People who haven't seen me for a long time. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Idiots like me.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay. So my mission tonight is to not get to the point of pushing my luck that I get a slap when we actually meet in Manchester, Wigan in October.
That's fair.
Double checked the other day. We got about, I think there was about 28 people said they're coming now. Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's good. So that will be the first time in like over 30 years, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Scary.
We've not seen each other since Buchan?
Yeah, I left Buchan, let me think, 91. So I think that'll be the last time I saw you. 91, 92, something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Really? Whereabouts did you go in 91 then?
I went to Prestwick. I only did 2 years at Buchan.
Wow. Crikey. And then straight off to Prestwick.
Yeah.
So it has. It's been over 30 years. Crikey.
Yeah.
And here we are. Here we are. No, I can't see any grey hair.
Got a good hairdresser.
Yeah, so have I. So have I. So here we are tonight to talk about music and to talk about life. I'm excited because 30 years is a long time, and I have to do the best that I possibly can to fit in the best bits of what's been going on in your life since then, 1991 until now. And we will do that through the vehicle of music, of course. So shall we start with your first tune?
Yeah, go for it.
And maybe I don't know, maybe I'll learn a little bit about your earlier life. I'm thinking. So it's Tiger Feet by Mud.
Yeah, totally random. when you asked me to choose some songs, I mean, I could have gone down like so many different roads and picked, like, you know, could pick my heartbreak playlist, or, you know, when go to the football playlist. But I thought I'd choose things from certain times in my life. And this is kind of one of the first songs that I owned. I would have been about 7 or 8, I think. And my mum is deaf. And I grew up in a pub, for people that don't know, but my mum never believed in buying music as presents ever, because she couldn't hear it. She didn't see the point. And so I used to listen to music on the jukebox in the pub when I was allowed in there. And for my birthday one year, she bought me this little orange cassette, and there was loads of random songs on it. And one of them was Tiger Feet by Mud. And there was like things like Monster Mash and, you know, all that kind of rubbish. Yeah. But Tiger Feet, I love. I still love it now. It's a brilliant song. Dead happy. Yeah.
So it takes you right back to 7 or 8 years old in the pub.
Yeah, really skanky pub. Yeah. Between a scrapyard, the docks, and some wasteland that travelling people used to use. Yeah, it's great. Right.
Okay. So what do you remember about the clientele when you were allowed in there then?
Well, yeah, a lot actually. I used to sit. There used to be hand-pulled pumps on the bar, and I used to go in there just before I used to go to bed and sit in between the pumps. And my mum used to like let me give every customer a kiss goodnight. I mean, which looking back is proper creepy. You know, I would never allow that now. It's just like loads of old men from the scrappy and, you know, and the docks and stuff come in. Proper working man's pub.
Yeah.
And I remember they always used to be playing tricks on my mum. We'd like leave the pub one day, there'd be a false leg hanging down from the front door, or they'd glue pint glasses to the toilet doors.
Oh,
there was always a smell of pot. It was great. I've never taken drugs. I'm just going to put that out there, but the place used to stink of it. Great.
So you remember the smells?
Yeah, you couldn't forget the smell of pot. Although I always thought it was stale beer, and I still think to this day that it reminds me of back then, because obviously you know, couldn't get all scientific. Your olfactory system is, you know, where your memories are made, and your smells, it takes you right back. So that's one smell, pot. That takes me back to when I was a kid. What is that?
Earliest smells, weed.
Yeah. Happy days.
What else do you remember about back then, about sort of school and sort of family life and stuff like that?
Oh, well, it was just me and my mum, single parent. We moved to like that area, so Middlesbrough, part of Middlesbrough called South Bank, which is really nasty place. We moved there because my mum and dad split up. She had quite a volatile relationship with him, so she left. We moved there. The pub was actually my nana and granddad's, and they moved out, and my mum took over as the manager. And I went to a primary school there, Cromwell Road Primary School. It's been knocked down now. That's been for years, but yeah, went there until I lived there till I was 10. And then my mum met another fella, and we moved to another pub in a place called North Ormsby, which was so much better. I mean, it had heating for a start, which was nice. I mean, we didn't even have a TV until really we moved. So I used to watch TV in the bar, and when the pub was shut, it's back when the pubs used to shut. Obviously now they're open all the time, but I used to remember watching the final score on a Saturday afternoon, just wishing for it to be over, so I could watch probably whatever was on at the time. I don't even remember, but just sit in the pub watching it until the pub opened again, and then I get kicked out again. So yeah,
crikey. Yeah, Saturday night TV when it used to be good as well.
Yeah, and only 4 channels or 3 channels actually.
I know. Oh, look, there's a question for anybody that's watching. What was like the? So we're talking sort of like late 70s then, or are we talking early? Yeah, late 70s. sort of 79, 80-ish, there or thereabouts?
Yeah, there or thereabouts.
Right. What was Saturday night entertainment at the back end of the 70s, early 80s?
It would have been like a load of comedy, wouldn't it? Like Morecambe and Wise and
Yeah.
some really dodgy quiz shows. A bit like now, really, but
Yeah.
without so many lights.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't remember a lot of it. I do remember the Muppets on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
That was at 7 o'clock. Remember that. But
Sunday
I don't
night.
remember what else.
Starsky and Hutch, Terry's saying.
Ah, yeah. Well, the thing is, I was only allowed to watch TV up until when the pub opened, so I would have been, kicked out by then.
Yeah. Oh, here you go. You see, we can rely on Mr. Morris, Mo, the Generation Game. That was proper Saturday night TV, right?
Yes.
The Generation Game.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Original Generation Game was Bruce, wasn't it, to start with? And then did Larry Hagman, was it not Larry Hagman?
Larry Grayson.
Yeah.
Yeah, Larry Hagman. Yeah, JR.
Larry Hagman. No, that's J.R. Ewing. That was J.R. Ewing. But that's still same time, Dallas. Or Terry saying Kojak. Dave Large says nothing was good until Gladiators and Blind Date.
Oh, funny that.
There we go. Christ.
Sounds about right.
So brought up in a pub, South Bank, Middlesbrough, Saturday night TV. You remember that? Full-time scores, school life around then. So why and what drew you to the Royal Air Force?
Do you know, I knew you'd ask me that, and actually 30 odd years on, I still don't know. I remember I was like the first year to do GCSEs. I wasn't academic at all. In fact, like my maths teacher told me I would fail horribly. And I didn't. I got I got a C. Wasn't great, and I had an application filled out to be a nurse back before you needed a degree, and I had that filled in. And I also, me and my friend just went down the careers office for a laugh and booked in to do our aptitude test. I passed it. She failed. I felt sorry for her. Took her to McDonald's. We had a Big Mac. And then it just went from there. I was kind of bullied into being a Scopie because I was YTS. So, you're 16, you don't know what you're doing.
By the careers office, sort of, this is what you want to do.
Yeah, kind of. I think it was just like, spaces that they needed filling.
All right.
Yeah,
so you landed in the trade of aerospace systems operator by sheer fluke.
Yes, 100%. I didn't even know what it was.
Right.
Not a clue.
Crikey. Okay. We'll come back to that. I'm kind of trying to work the music here because your next song is a Wham song.
Yes.
And it's Young Guns. I'm trying to think when that is. But that was mid-80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, so this, Wham, everybody has their teenage band, don't they? Duran Duran, Spandau Ballet. Mine was Wham. Probably from as soon as they came out. And I chose Young Guns because every now and again, my husband and I will have these, we'll have a few drinks and we'll have these random music nights where we just pick songs. And I have this weird thing of 80s music. Which, if in Wigan they play 80s music, you will see it. I probably know every single word to every single song. I don't know why, but Young Guns, I do all the parts in it, and it drives my husband insane, which is brilliant. I do all the voices, I do everything, and it's just really, really funny. But it takes me back to when I loved Wham, and I think Sarah Cox had something on the other day where, they play a song really, really slowly and you've got to guess what it is. And it was a Wham song, but it was a really obscure one. And I got it. So I was like really smug when I walked into the house, because I was on the radio. But yeah, I just chose that because it was my teenage years before I joined up. So I thought, it's probably a good representation of it, It's about settling down and not wanting to, and playing the field and all that kind of thing. So yeah, probably a good song for my teenage years, that one.
Yes. And so 16, you were 16 when you joined the Air Force as well.
Yes.
So how was the whole joining up process at 16? How did you cope with leaving home, and your mum? You got brothers and sisters as well?
No, I'm an only child.
Only child.
My mum had not long been married, and obviously she had a pub to run as well. So she kind of was like, busy anyway. I don't know how she was when I was away. I just know I hated basic training. I used to ring up saying they've missold this to me, they're really horrible, and they were like, oh, we'll go down the careers office. They never did. They were just trying to placate me because I was like a pathetic 16-year-old, really. But, as you do, I mean, I joined up with another scopie from the same area called Sarah Payne. So we travelled down to Hereford together. And there was another boy from Middlesbrough as well. He got best recruit from Middlesbrough. I can't remember his name, but I'm pretty sure he's not in anymore. Definitely not Scopey. But yeah, I mean, I think I took it in my stride.
Just got on with
it.
Yeah,
definitely.
What things in particular would you say they missold you?
How hard it was going to be. Is it easy? Like it.
Did anybody really tell you it was going to be easy?
I think it was all fluffy. Oh, it'd be brilliant. You'll have a great time. And looking back, you like it. But, I can see why they did it. They were just trying to, people were like, oh, you're so lucky to get in the RAF. You weren't in the Girl Guides. You weren't an air cadet. You weren't this, you weren't that. And the Air Force is the best one to join, which I still believe now. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I mean, I think when I was 15 or 16 as well, I was seeing this guy that was in the army. And funny story, we broke up. He went and robbed a petrol station at gunpoint and ended up in prison. That was fun. Yeah, and he threatened to come down to Hereford to see me, and I actually had to tell the guard room that he was coming down because he still had his ID card. He might have got on the base. Yeah. But yeah, weird.
Okay, so we've not rehearsed this, right? So how could you know that the question that I was gonna? I've actually written it here, right? Related to the fact that you had chosen Young Guns by Wham, and I thought that you might have something guard duty related. I wrote, do you know any cool stories that you could tell us about guns? And you've just told us about your ex-boyfriend holding up a petrol station at gunpoint.
I can tell you another one about when I was on guard at Saxa, but it's really rude.
No, we want to know. If I don't like
you want to know now?
Yeah, of course we do. Crikey, me.
So I was on guard, and you can't do there on your own at Saxa. I mean, we can get attacked by sheep, but it was like a manual barrier, and this couple that hadn't been together particularly long, and I didn't know them that well either. She comes through the gates going, Billie, I've had an absolutely brilliant day. I went, oh, have you've been shopping and everything? She went, oh no. She said, I've had love eggs in all day and it's been amazing. I was like, wow. Too much information.
Yeah, I think that's what we call oversharing.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I hardly know you. You must have had a good day.
Oh, lovely. So that's what happens up at Saxa.
Yeah, didn't have tele reception.
Do you know, I don't know whether somebody told me this or whether or not I read it. I need to, perhaps our viewers and listeners, depending on what platform people are consuming this, somebody said to me something about like stuff that went on on the outer islands, like in the sort of even like late sort of 70s, early 80s, there was some real dodgy goings on up there. And I need to get the gossip because I don't know anybody that old.
Yeah.
Well, apart from Dolly, but I don't think he was there. Erduig, I think, was closest he was there. Yeah, so maybe need somebody from like the late 70s or 80s to come and spill all about the trials and tribulations of Saxophord and back in the day.
Probably write another book on that one.
Well, there we go. Don't get me started. I'm not allowed to talk about the book on here. We're here to talk about you.
There was a lot of stuff going on at Saxo, actually. I have to, that's where I met my husband. So, it was great for me. But there was quite a lot of, extramarital affairs. You could never get a picture on the TV. So you're always off out causing mischief somewhere.
Yeah.
There was lots of bed hopping going on, for sure.
Yeah, why does that not surprise me?
But I mean, and even if the partners were civvies, but you'd get to hear about it a lot more because it was such a small place. And you'd go away for 2 weeks, you'd come back, and there'd be, the whole thing would have changed. It was amazing. Loved it. Great posting.
Right. So let's go through your timeline for how long you were in. You joined up Hereford basic training or trade training at Drayton. Yeah, Buchan, and two years at Buchan.
Yeah, 89 to 91. Yeah, Prestwick I did 4.5 years. Because that was on I don't know if you've ever visited, but it's a Navy camp. So you're on HMS Gannet.
Yeah.
And that was weird because I'd gone from living in a flat near the Big G to a 4-man room. Not only a 4-man room, but sharing with 3 Navy girls as well, which was total culture shock. But ended up being absolutely brilliant, actually. Had such a laugh with them. Really, really nice girls, all completely nuts. Always playing tricks on each other, but they used to leave the RAF girl alone, which was quite weird.
Yeah.
Met some really nice people, like even air traffickers. Some of them were all right as well, but a lot of air traffic at Prestwick.
Yeah, and I heard people got on with air traffickers at Prestwick. Yeah.
You had to, because there was it was like 3 SACs on a shift, and then your corporal was an air trafficker, and then a Scorpion flight sergeant who was Di Harry.
Oh,
the legend that is.
Yes.
We were naughty one day. On the weekends, he used to let us watch the TV, and it'd be on in the background, but we were naughty. I don't even know what we'd done, but he made us watch the chess results on teletext for a whole shift. Such a git. Always remember that.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. And we just played Clag all the time.
So to that from crikey, the number of cards on shift all the time. To that from living in a flat with your pals at Buchan must have been a bit of a culture shock for you. But tell me this, because you mentioned the flat, not me. You mentioned it. I am now just going to ask the question: what is your most memorable event or event that you've forgotten related to that flat? Probably like one of the many parties that you had.
We had a lot of parties. Lovely Sammy McCallum kept a budgie.
Yeah.
And in one of these parties, I can't remember which budgie it was. It might have been, she called them funny names. I know one was definitely called Ibrox. But one of them, one of the RAF police coppers, got a slice of bread and put this live budgie between the slices of bread and pretended to eat it. I mean, he didn't, but the next day the budgie was dead in the bottom of the cage. So that must have been Sam's first budgie, I think. Might have been the second one. Because the first one of them flew out the window. So she wasn't very lucky with her budgies.
Oh,
so
no.
That's one of the tales. Remember tricking one of my other flatmates into eating a curry because she swore blind that she didn't like curry, and I told her it was beef stew. And she ate it. I mean, that's quite tame. There was lots of sex happening in that flat.
Lots of sex.
Yeah. I mean, I moved in. It was like 3 girls who'd moved in originally, and then one was moving out with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
I'll not say names unless you want me to. I think they probably can figure out who's who. And so I moved into the smallest bedroom, and it was back in the old days when OCWAF had to come and check it was good enough for you. So I went from being bed checked to moving into a flat. Oh, I've got stories about being bed checked as well, actually.
Let's hear your bed checking. I don't know if you saw Becky Kinroy, now Taylor. She was on, and she told us about bed checking, about being bed checked, and then like being in bed, dressed under the covers for bed check, and then climbing out the window. You didn't do something similar, did you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it was all in the pod cabins, wasn't it? So it was all ground floor, so it wasn't difficult to climb out your window. But I think it was a fancy dress costume, fancy dress night, and I'd gone as Little Bo Peep, and somebody else had gone as Garfield. And halfway through the night, we decided that we were going to swap costumes, but in the ladies' toilets. And so he comes, well, we're trying to furiously get changed in this cubicle. Kath, is it Hamper?
Hamper, yeah.
She comes into the toilets knowing fine well that Garfield was a bloke. So she comes in, she's going, "Oh, Garfield." So we're like sniggering in the toilet, just trying to keep quiet, meanwhile trying to swap costumes. So he comes out as Little Bo Peep, and I go out as Garfield. And it took a while for people to click, which that was quite. He really suited a little bonnet, actually. But yeah. But then when I got bed checked, both costumes were in my room, so it was a bit of a giveaway. Right. But yeah, it's good fun. God, the stuff you used to get up to.
Oh yeah.
I thought you what we're talking about now. Go on, sorry.
No, on you go.
We're talking about stuff got up to at Saxa. I was a good girl at Saxa.
Really?
Yeah. I literally met my husband within a week of being there.
Ah, okay. Yeah. And how long did you spend there?
We both extended, so we did 2 years.
Right.
Yeah. Great unit, really good laugh, because you had to socialise because there was nothing else to do, and you couldn't go home at the weekend. So
right.
It was great. Loved it.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to ask you to roll the clock back now.
Okay.
I was going to move on. To like your next song, but Kelly Phillips has just said, "Prestwick, talk."
Can I put my disclaimer out here then now? Because obviously I told you about this beforehand, saying that my memories are a little bit sketchy. And and the reason is because I had a seizure, which is why I left the RAF. And so lots of things have been wiped out of my memory. Yeah. Like, for instance, last week, my husband told me that me and one of the medics at Saxa used to go around the island doing DJ sets. Don't remember any of it.
Oh,
so wow. I was a DJ. So that's quite funny. So I'm going to claim ignorance at Prestwick. Thank you, Kelly. Maybe he wants to remind me.
So, there you go. Kelly will just have to come along to Wigan in October. Open invitation to all. come along and fill in the blanks for Billie, please, Kelly.
Yes, please do.
He said, "You're fab, good kid. You were ace." That's what he
Ah.
said.
Ah,
So there you
I'll
go.
pay him later.
Yeah, your fans are on tonight. Okay, so you mentioned leaving the Air Force, being medically discharged.
Yeah.
And so how did that kind of come about? So you had a seizure. What do you know what led up to that, caused it, and what happened, and then
I know now what caused it. It was the day I'd only been married a couple of months. Mark, my husband, was in Cyprus. He got posted to Cyprus and moved into the married quarter. And I went to Tesco's just to do a little bit of shopping. This was when I was at NEZ. And I remember just feeling a little bit funny. And the next thing, I woke up in an ambulance. But it turns out it was the lights. They were flashing at such a rate that just set me off on this weird thing. And when I was in the hospital, they were asking me, you know, who can we ring? And I could only remember telephone numbers from 10 years previously. Couldn't remember. It was before mobile phones. So, you know, eventually remembered Shauna's phone number. And first thing, she pulled back the curtains, came into the hospital. She went, "For fuck's sake, Billie, you didn't fall in the tomatoes, did you?" And, you know, broke the ice, bless her. But yeah, that just led to eventually, I mean, I went back to work and then had lots of tests. And they came back and they actually spoke to the warrant officer before they spoke to me. And I got pulled out of the ops room and was told never to go back in there. So, yeah, great.
Crikey. So that happened in the space of how long?
That so I had the seizure in the June. That would have been June 97. And then I went for loads of tests, and I think it must have been probably later on that year. It took a few months, and they didn't know what to do with me at all. So I used to sit in the station adjutant's office when they were on holiday, but then I used to get into trouble because people used to come and see me, and it was right next to the station commander's office, and we were making too much noise. Then I was warrant officer ops assistant for a little while, and then I got back down into the crew room, and I think I sat in the crew room for 3 months doing nothing. So,
oh man,
yeah, easy money.
And this had been brought on by lights. Did anything ever happen again? Were you kind of told you got to avoid this now, or, you know, diagnosed with anything in particular, or?
They said I was photosensitive to something, I think was it 16 and 20 kilohertz, maybe something like that. The annoying thing is I wasn't the only person that it happened to. I can, you know, name probably 3 or 4 other people. And who all kept their jobs. I was the only one who got kicked out, which was annoying. I did try, you know, to go down a legal route with them because obviously I lost out on my career, my pension, everything. But
what happened there?
They even said it was can't even say it. It was because of service life, but you know, the solicitor said you haven't got a case to answer. So I thought, oh, great, thanks for your help. No, that was me, a civvy.
So what would you say was the hardest part of leaving?
Weirdly, I didn't find it hard to leave. Neat said started to get a bit silly. And I mean, I'd been promoted by that point, but I couldn't go and do my course. So I was still only acting because I'd had the seizure by then. I wasn't allowed to handle a weapon or, you know, anything. And by the time they said you're going for your medical board and you're out, because you get like dismissed on the spot, I thought to myself, well, do you know what? I can go and live in Cyprus now for 3 years. So you know, I wasn't that fussed. And still very young as well, because I was, 25?
Yeah.
You know, I'd done like 3 weeks short of 10 years. So, yeah, I just bimbled off to Cyprus and laid around for a bit.
Yeah.
As
Was
the
your
wife
husband,
of, which is weird.
out there at the time, or it was posted out there?
He got posted. That's why we got married, because when we were at Saxa, we were coming to the end of our tour, and they said to him, you're posted, you're going overseas, but we're not going to tell you where until you accept. And so we had a chat and said, well, it's either Germany, which is doable, or Cyprus, which is a little bit more difficult. And in the end, it was Cyprus. And we thought, well, you know, back in the day, the only way you could be treated seriously is if you got married. So we got married. Obviously, it's worked out. So might not have done, because, you know, we'd only been together 2 years when we got married.
Yeah.
But then, so obviously he got posted to Akrotiri. He got there probably a month after we got married. So we spent our first 18 months apart. But, you know, that was fine. You know, when anesthesia, he was on the next day. So, you know, it's only a 4-hour flight.
And so you spent 3 years out there?
The first time, yeah, I've been twice, you know, as a civvy. Well, first time was like 2.5 years. And then, you know, obviously I followed him around. He did 24 years. So, yeah.
Crikey. Okay, next song. Because I've got a couple of questions that fall off the back of this as well. Okay. So, Sweet Home Alabama, Leonard Skinner.
Yes.
It's a tune.
It's my happy song. I absolutely love this song. And one of these days, I'm going to know all the words to it, but I don't. I just like dance around my living room with a duster singing Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I love the film of the same title. I love a chick flick, you know, and so I kind of put the two together. So if you need a little bit of cheering up, watch the film, put the song on. You know, I think, I don't know if you've got Spotify, but every year they tell you what's your most listened to song. Yeah. And it's always my number one song, because it's just my go-to song. I love it.
Yeah.
Nothing more complicated than that, really.
So one of the questions that I've written down here was, what one bit of advice? So there's two things here. One bit of advice you'd give to anyone wanting to be happier. You've just ticked one of the boxes there. Stick on Sweet Home Alabama by Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
One piece of advice you'd give to anyone that wanted to be happier or healthier.
Not an advocate for being healthier. Happier. Happier. We may touch on this in a little while, but I think, you know, at some point in people's lives, I think they all come across something that is so horrendous that it changes your outlook.
Yeah.
Now, I don't allow myself to take things seriously, because what is the point? You know, I'm always, you know, at work. I've got, you know, pretty stressful job, but I just think, I just swear at it, you know, swear at things, tell people to piss off, you know, don't be a yes man and do what makes you feel good at the end of the day. Don't dwell on the stuff you can't change. If you can change it, it's going to make you feel happier, then go for it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And drink gin.
And drink gin.
Gin.
Chin.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so let's just go there now then.
Okay.
What was that? What was that for you? What was that?
The horrendous thing.
Yeah.
So this is going back to my first tour in Cyprus. It was in the news, so people may well remember this. My cousin Sharon came out to Cyprus to get married. Second marriage, came with her 2 little kids, Christy and Bobby. That was in the June. In the October, they went on holiday with their real dad, their birth dad, and they died on holiday. Carbon monoxide poisoning.
Oh my God.
And that was it went on for a few years. Old Thomas Cook, hotel manager, maintenance manager, went to prison. Yeah, absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
As you can well imagine, there's lots of things that didn't come out. How badly my cousin's family were treated, how they were hounded, how people on holiday at the time were kind of told to keep the gob shut or else. And then the papers saying that they were in some sort of weird cult and they'd taken magic mushrooms. And it made me realise that, you want to believe what you read and what you see, but most of it's bullshit. I mean, I actually found out, I'd just come back from a body pump class. I lived in Cyprus, and I was in the kitchen making myself something to eat, and all I heard was the news. Obviously, Cyprus is 2 hours ahead, and all I heard was Christy Ann, which is a really unusual name. So I went into the living room, and all I saw on the news was 2 body bags coming out of the little villa that they were staying in, and that's how I found out. So that was horrific. I mean, still I think about them every single day. It's coming up. October half term is awful because that's when it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the horrendous thing. They were 5 and 6 years old. So,
oh my Lord!
Can't imagine it, can you?
No. How did that affect you at the time?
Probably didn't eat for a long time. I was like in shock. I kind of just closed off. And, it affects me now in the fact that, daft things. I can't read about any children being mistreated or dying. I can't watch any films with children in them. There was something in the news the other day about a 13-year-old boy, unfortunately, drowned off the coast of Skegness, which isn't far from here. Couldn't read it.
Yeah.
It brings, they weren't even my kids, but, and I said to her sister, I said, I feel guilty for hugging my own son when she can't hug hers. And she went, I know exactly what you mean. And we felt guilty because our kids were still here.
Yeah.
I think these things,
that'll eat you up as well, right? Feeling guilty for something that, 1, wasn't your fault, 2, completely out of your control. So it was tough, right?
Oh God, yeah. And our Sharon still posts on Facebook. Last year would have been Bobby's 21st. It's things like that are really sad. Obviously, I've been to visit their grave, and the grave's gorgeous. But yeah, awful.
So after that, and kind of, getting yourself, I guess, how did you? I don't not say put it behind you, because you can't ever put anything like that. But what helped you to move on, I guess?
Well, my son was probably 3 or 4 at the time. In fact, he had just turned 4. He helped, obviously. And I actually think being in Cyprus probably helped as well, because we were away from it. The TV, you got the headline news and that was about it. That probably helped. But, obviously you're never going to forget them. But, our Sharon's, she's started up a successful business. She's amazingly had 3 more children.
Yeah.
But, Christy and Bobby, I've got photos of them around the house and stuff. And but you just get on with your life, don't you? I mean, what else can you do? You got to live for who's there.
Yeah, people that are alive need you.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great way to look at it. There isn't, like you say, absolutely nothing that you can do. We've got a few comments trickling down the side here. I don't know if you can see them.
No, I can't.
Well, Kelly's being quite chatty. Kelly said he chatted you up and he failed.
Oh, Kelly. Well, Kelly has aged quite well, actually. So we made friends on Facebook this morning.
Malcolm Clark's in the house tonight. He said, amazing to see and to hear you, Billie. Much love.
Listen.
And yeah, Terry's been he's still watching as well. There we go. So got a question in relation to Leonard Skinner. That kind of, yeah, that we went from happy song and happy place, quite off the beaten track down the road there, didn't we?
Yeah.
So let's look all the way back to Happy Place again. Sweet Home Alabama. Where do you consider to be home?
Cyprus.
Yeah, you see, it's a very interesting question for people that have lived lives like ours, where spent a number of time in different places. So why Cyprus? Is it the memories? Is it the, what is it that makes that home?
We did so much when we were there. First time as like newlyweds, partying, traveling. And then we took Jack out when he was 3. He started school out there, made some absolutely amazing friends. And actually there's a little gang of like 5 of us women. And we still get together now 2 or 3 times a year. And do things. I mean, they all actually worked in Jack's nursery, and they're like my best mates. They're absolutely brilliant. So we do like random things. Like in January, for instance, we went to a Butlins 80s weekend, which was a good laugh. We've been to see the taping of Britain's Got Talent. We just do random stuff. There's always alcohol involved, obviously. But as you would imagine, I mean, that's if I had to pick a place, that's where it would be. But I think home is where your family is. If you're going to go all deep and stuff like that, I want to be with my husband and my son. It doesn't matter where that is.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as long as we get on and we have a laugh and we communicate, then which we do.
So you don't look back with fondness and still consider South Bank to be home then? No.
Well, you get raped and pillaged as you go back there.
I
actually got married in South Bank.
Did you?
Yeah, because I'm Mark's second wife, and obviously we couldn't get married in a normal church, so we actually got married in a Methodist church. But it was the church that my school used to take us to when we were kids.
Yeah.
So I got married in South Bank and then went and had, you'll like this, wedding reception was in Saltburn.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a lovely place.
Yeah, Rushpool Hall. I don't know if you know that.
Rushpool Hall is where Karen and I spent the night of our wedding.
Me too.
There we go. Yeah. There we go. Things you never know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's a lovely place, Rushpool Hall, because it's only about 5 minutes from where Karen's sister stays. So, yeah. So I don't know too much about South Bank myself. I've driven through it a couple of times. That's usually been enough.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, I can introduce you to some nice places. There's Grangetown, which is particularly lovely.
Oh yeah, I recognise that as well. Yes.
Yeah. No, they're horrible.
So it's essentially where family is. Home is where the heart is, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So what does now, you mentioned there about friends that you've kind of kept in touch with. We've obviously got this thing happening in Wigan in October. So I think I'll ask this question to everybody that I have on in the next few months. What does the ideal weekend with friends consist of now?
If we're going to put it for Wigan, I just want to catch up with everybody, see what they've done with their lives, particularly because most people are actually not serving anymore. Just to see what paths they've taken and what the kids are doing, and then have giggles about their last memories, that kind of thing, and I'll hopefully jolt some of mine because, it's a bit shit. But
that's the message that you sent to me when I had you in. Memory's a bit shit. So you're looking for people filling in some more of the gaps for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, names I know, but people, if they can come up to me in the street and I'll go, not so sure.
Right. Okay, cool. So what
you can tell me anything then, can't you? I'll have done all sorts by the time I get to Wigan, won't I?
I've got a fairly creative imagination. Yeah, I mean, I'll put my mind to work.
Great.
Billie, did I tell you? Did I tell you?
Oh my God.
So you talked about catching up with people there and asking them what path they've taken and what they've done with their life since they left the Air Force. So we've not really touched on that. Obviously you came out and you spent some time in Cyprus, but what did you, what was your path after that? Where did it take you?
So first time in Cyprus, I ran there's an animal rehoming centre there. So I ran the cat side of that. I was just a volunteer. Loved that. Got a cat out of it. Then we came back to the UK. So I would have been 28. I decided, for whatever reason, you might laugh at this, not very girly, I wanted to be a beauty therapist. So I worked at Morrison's and went to college, qualified in that, had Jack, decided I hated being a beauty therapist. And then we moved. So we came back from Cyprus, went to Wittering. Then we went to, Mark went to Coningsby. Then after that, we moved to Marham. And obviously Jack was little, and you know what it's like, you've got no family support when you're moving around with a RAF. So I did eventually end up running the nurse bank in Kings Lynn Hospital. And my first day at work, I got home and Mark just looked at me and I went, "We're posted to Cyprus, aren't we?" And he went, "Yeah, my first day." So I was like, yay. So went back to Cyprus, worked in a school, came back from Cyprus, worked in another school. And then I decided I really want to be an estate agent, which is so random. So,
wow.
Yeah. I'm really nosy, so loved houses. So I applied to loads of places. Nobody would even interview me until I joined this, like, one of the biggest companies in the country. And it turned out I was actually really, really good at it. And within 2 years, I was the assistant branch manager. Then I moved over to one of our flagship shops in Nottingham. Then I got headhunted by another firm where I was the manager, made everybody a lot of money. The bosses told me I was shit at my job because I was costing them a lot of money in bonuses. So I told them to shove the job at their arse. And now I work in property law.
Property law?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Crikey, that's a very varied path. So what? Yeah. And did property law just come as a result of what you learned whilst you were dealing with property and everything that you had to kind of, pick up for the job? It just took you.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, obviously, as an estate agent, they're all liars, and in law, you can't be. You've got to tell the truth. So that was a big change. No more blagging it. So that was so I've been at the firm I'm at for just over 4 years now. So yeah, it's quite. It can be. I specialise in new build plot sales. Yeah. So if you went and bought a brand new house somewhere, I'd be acting for the developer. So.
Okay, got you.
All very boring.
So that's a number of jobs. I've got a job-related question here as well. I think it's quite typical. So say, just because we don't really have one at the moment, you were Prime Minister right now.
Yeah.
Look at me, controversial. What one change would you make right now if you were Prime Minister?
I would put a super duper tax on the utility companies. Get those bloody bills down.
I think
Very
that's one.
sensible.
I think that's one that I should ask everybody right up until probably September, October.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep asking that one. I wonder if anybody that might be the okay. That one's used now. Let's see what else.
Yeah, you can't have it again.
Yeah,
I'd say 4-day working week, but I only work 4 days.
4-day working week. That's I think that's got to be the future, right?
Mm.
There's a few other things that I believe are the future. Cold exposure, I believe. Everybody would be doing that. I've got another one, but I won't say it because I think my wife's watching. But another thing that's the future, Malcolm Clark's watching as well, so he knows exactly what I'm talking about. I think the pharmaceutical industry is an absolute con. I think that I'm not saying that medicine doesn't have a place, but yeah, that's something I would do. Anyway, yeah, moving on. I don't know where that came from. So I asked a question about Prime Minister, and there we go. Okay, so here's one. Before we go on to your next song, it's kind of related as well. What would you say is the biggest risk that you've ever taken?
Ooh. In life, or just like a single event?
Whatever you can think of, whatever comes to mind.
Well, me not taking my life seriously. It was being on the back of Mark's motorbike, going around the TT track. He'd forgotten I was there because I am quite small, and he was racing somebody, and I was sat on the back of the bike thinking I was going to die, actually saying to myself the Lord's Prayer for 37.73 miles, because that's how big the bloody track is.
God.
That was a risk.
Jeez. Oh.
Yeah. That was quite scary, actually. But biggest risk, what have I ever done? Biggest risk.
I think that's a fair old risk.
Yeah.
37. How fast was he going?
Oh, God knows. It must have been opposites day, because we had like a code where if I thought it was going too fast, I'd slap him on the thigh.
Okay.
And that particular day, he thought it might go faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got off and battered him.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Everlong by the Foo Fighters. What else can I say? What a tune.
I know.
Yeah.
Love the Foos.
So what's this? Obviously, this is a I was talking about Foo Fighters the other day as well. They're one of these bands for me that any given week, I think, probably if you were to say to me, what's your favorite Foo Fighters song? It changes, because there are so many great songs that they've done. So tell me about Everlong.
Well, I was always going to choose a Foo Fighters song because, I mean, I've seen them a couple of times. They're absolutely amazing. We were meant to go and see him in Wembley, you know, when he fell off the stage and broke his leg.
Yeah.
And then he came back and they played at the Milton Keynes Bowl, and our tickets were still valid. Only this time, I had a broken ankle.
Oh,
so,
no.
Yeah, but I went. I thought, hey, you might not have turned up, mate, but I'm bloody gonna. Yeah. And it was a toss-up, actually, because it came from this gig and they were supported by Biffy Clyro. And Mark and Jack had gone down to the front to watch a bit of Biffy, and Biffy had played Many of Horror. And I remember sitting on the bank, not being able to go too far because it was quite a painful break. Did it during a 3-legged race at Parents Sports Day, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I won it, but I broke my ankle.
You won.
But I remember just sitting on the bank crying to Many of Horror, thinking, what are you doing? But so it was going to be that song, but I chose Everlong because there's a line in the song which I think is amazing, and it's breathe out so I can breathe you in. And I think it's one of my favourite lyrics. I just think it's awesome. So that's why I chose that song.
I think that's awesome as well. That's another thing that's the future. Effectively using your breath. Breathe. I love that line.
Yeah.
Breathe out so I can breathe you in. I like that.
Except if you've had a curry, because that wouldn't be good, would it?
I was going to say, yeah, I don't know that my wife would probably agree with the sentiment there if green haze in the bedroom after fucking Vindaloo's. Yes. So Dave Grohl broke his leg, then you broke your ankle, but you still got to see them.
Yeah.
But it kind of comes down to that line.
Yeah.
What do you like so much about that line? Breathe out so I can breathe you in.
It's just the part in the song as well, just the way he sings it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just always stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And it's very melodic.
Brilliant.
I don't know.
We'll let's stay with the Foo Fighters. I was going to ask, but so I don't know who this is. Somebody watching on YouTube who's put their name as Drunk. I don't. I mean, I was going to say I don't know who's drunk. I could have a hazard a guess at quite a lot of people that could be drunk.
Could be any one of my friends.
9 o'clock on Thursday night. But they've said nice guitars. I'm sure what they are making reference to is the 3 in the background. So, yeah, do you want to tell us about them?
I'd love to say they were mine. They are not. They are my husband's. And that's not even all of them either. He's a lead guitarist in a covers band.
Oh, nice. Nice. Is it a covers band of one band, or do they do lots of covers?
Lots of covers. Some like really old rock, right up to like Royal Blood and Muse and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, nice. What are they called?
They are called Stormwire.
Stormwire?
Yeah.
That's a cool name.
Yeah. 3 old rockers getting together every week. Oh, let's rap as well.
Brilliant. Right. Okay. Should we do the last song? I've got a few other. In fact, should we do? Let me see. No, I've got that question. I'm going to save until the end. So let's do Megadeth, and I'll get even.
I had to throw in something super rocky.
This is the only one. This is the only one that really surprised me. I was like, I wouldn't have taken you for a Megadeth fan. So there we go. Brilliant.
I'm a secret rock chick, This is off an album called Cryptic Writings. And when I moved into the married quarter, shortly after I had the seizure, Mark had left it behind when he went back to Cyprus. And so I just started listening to the album, and I thought, need to kind of get into this more rocky stuff that he's into. And it was this song, it's not that rocky really compared to the rest of the album, but I absolutely loved it. And I played it over and over and over again. So it's just one of these songs that takes you right back to a time, when I lived in the married quarter, and there would be a knock at the door and saying, "Can I speak to Corporal Wilson?" Well, I'm Corporal Wilson. No, your husband, but I'm Corporal Wilson. That kind of thing. Back when women weren't allowed to be, opening doors to people. But yeah, I've been to Download. I've seen Iron Maiden a few times. I've seen Skindred. I'm proper. Not into thrash. Draw the line at that. But yeah, just a good old rock song.
Right. What is it about that one in particular?
I think it's a good introduction to Megadeth, because just the title of Megadeth is quite scary, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like you say, it is it's a more melodic one.
Yeah, and the singing is not all waily and scary, and you can actually sing along to it and follow it. So did you actually listen to it?
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
You have to listen to the rest of the album now then.
Well, do you know, it's one of these. So my I know a number of friends are like into much heavier bands. Megadeth, Metallica, never was really, into anything like that. But I have listened to them more as I've got older. I think that I've got an appreciation for it. Some of the, obviously, if you want guitar, you want to hear it like played the way that it should. That's the kind of music that you really need to be listening to. Yeah. Kelly said Billie's not into Megadeth. Surely, yeah, mate, she is. She's a rock chick. Frankie London saying about time. Does Frankie play in the same band as Mark? No,
it's an ex-copper and ex-techie.
Ah, right. I'm going to say, because I think I'm fairly sure, he'll tell us if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly sure that Frankie was or may still be in a band. No.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I think Frankie don't live too far from me either, to be fair.
Oh, there you go. Well, there we are.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
there is another band I should have mentioned, really. If you fancy a bit of a giggle with some rock, and some people might have heard of them, they're called Steel Panther.
Glory Hole.
Oh, yes, you know it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think it.
So, you know the radio show that I do on a Friday night. The one thing I was told off by the boss man, and I mean, to be fair, it was merited. First show on air, and I played a song that had some swearing in it, big F-bomb. Opening show. So I'd learned my lesson, because I enjoy doing it, so I don't want to get kicked off the air. But what I did was I put out it was a Facebook post, and I'll have to reignite it, because part of what we've been doing up here is putting some equipment in so that I can record properly without going into the studio. Very long story short story long, probably, because it's me. I asked, okay, if it was if I was going to do a show where it was uncensored, what songs do you want? As rude and as blasphemous and with the most obscene languages you like, what songs would you like that I can't play on air? And Dave Large came back with not only Steel Panther, Glory Hole, he sent me the link, and I watched the video, and I had to pick my chin up off the floor. So anybody that's not seen the video for Glory Hole by Steel Panther needs to go watch it, because it's exactly what it says on the tin, right? It's a Glory Hole.
Would it surprise you to know I've seen them 6 times?
No. Not after what you told me.
I absolutely love them. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
So much fun.
Who else did you see? You said you went to Download. So who was your sort of favourite act at Download?
Well, Steel Panther were there, funny old thing. But Aerosmith.
Yeah.
They were headlining. I only went, it's my husband and son now go every year, and they've just started to camp. So this is the second year they've camped for the whole weekend. And I've only been once, and I went for the day, and it was freezing, and I don't like being cold. So although I had a good time, I'd need to know the weather. But it's a lot of money, because you have to buy tickets about a year before. So and I don't camp. But who else was on? There was a singer called Miles Kennedy. Have you heard of him? Yeah. Well, I'm going to see Alter Bridge, who is the lead singer of, and Hailstorm in December. So those, Hailstorm. You need to check Hailstorm out because it's a female lead singer and she's really hot. She's got nice shoes as well.
She's what? Oh, you like your shoes, don't you?
Oh, I'm a big shoe fan.
I am almost certain. I'm glad you mentioned that because I was like literally into like last question mode there. But now that you've mentioned shoes, I've seen some pictures of like shoes. Have you not got like a proper rack? I mean, not like a not like just a wee rack in the corner. Have you not like got a proper, like almost a display case for your shoes?
Yeah, I have, yeah. And they sit on like little velvet bags and
What are
they
your
cost a lot of money. So.
What's your favourite pair of shoes then?
Well, I've got four pairs of Louboutins.
All right, that's the red
So
sole one.
Yeah. And I've recently bought some called Aquazuras, so I wouldn't expect you to know what they are, but they're pretty cool. They've got like little gold pineapples on the soles. Those are quite cute.
Gold pineapples.
Yeah.
Have you got any like disco stew ones that have got like goldfish in the heels?
Imagine that. Oh dear. I do have a bit of a shoe problem. I actually did buy 2 pairs yesterday. So
all right.
Yeah.
Imelda Marcos. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody is allowed something, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, I need to check out Hailstorm, and I've got 2 questions left for you before I let you go. Okay. I don't know where that's an hour and a quarter already.
Oh.
I don't know where the evening's gone. So what would you call the book of your life story?
Ooh. Been, saw, drunk the bar dry.
I saw a clip last night of a film that might be quite appropriate. Do you remember Guy Pearce when he kind of left Neighbours and he did that film called Memento?
Oh yeah.
And he basically wakes up and he has like no memory. That might be fairly suited, but I like that one. Came, saw, drank the bar dry. I like that.
Yeah.
What's your most vivid memory of drinking the bar dry?
I've got quite a lot, but Sports and Social at Buchan.
Oh,
that's one of them.
At Buchan.
Yeah, we were still at NFL, and it was kind of back down where they built the new site, and there was Toofers on as well. So gin was 10p a tot. Yeah, that put me off gin for about 10 years. That
good grief.
It was hard work getting back into it.
My lord, what's your what do you remember most about? Is there one night that sticks in your mind in there?
Yeah, I remember walking back up to camp and lying down in the middle of the road, hoping that a car would come and run me over.
Oh,
and nice. I was laughing. I thought it was funny. Yeah, but someone dragged me up. There's a few of us, thankfully. And then I had to get a train home the next day, and I was so badly hungover. It was awful. Yeah, not good.
Oh dear. Right. Okay. One last question. I've not asked this before, I don't think.
Oh.
But I've been watching Better Call Saul, and when do you watch it?
Yeah, I finished it on Tuesday.
So we just finished it last night. So this question you will have heard if you've been watching it, and I thought it was a fantastic question, and I said I'm going to ask Billie that. So if you had a time machine and you could go back in time to anywhere, where and when? Where would it be? When would it be? And why?
What a question! I don't know. Could it be something like Woodstock? Be a part of something amazing.
Oh,
Something like that, probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know? I hadn't even thought of it. For me, it would be something like the Wild West. I think I'd
Gonna get
love.
shot.
Yeah, well, but yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Knowing me, I think it was. I think I always fancied that. Yeah, I like that Woodstock. There's
Yeah.
there's a documentary on Netflix about the Woodstock that they tried to bring back that was an absolute disaster. I thought it looked quite cool. I think one of the headline acts was Kid Rock, which
Oh,
probably
well,
says
there you go
which
then.
probably says there we go. So so you go back somewhere like Woodstock, somewhere like that.
Yeah, or the '66 World Cup final. I know that's not somewhere you'd go, but something like that.
Do you know, I've enjoyed almost every minute of tonight, and you bring that in.
Sorry.
Right, I'll let you off it. I'll let you off with it. I'll let you off with it if you talk a little bit about the most recent England victory in a major tournament. That
You
you
mean the
can talk.
Euros?
Yeah.
Oh my God, so amazing. So
What?
amazing. What an absolute message they've sent out to lots of young girls.
Yeah. Absolutely. But what happens next there? What would you like? What would you like to see happen next there?
I think there was a newspaper article, wasn't there, a few years ago? Was it about what's her name? One of the England players wasn't allowed to play in a boys' team. Way back then, I know they are now up to a certain point because Jack had a girl in his. Well, he had two girls in his team, and they were bloody amazing. They
Yeah.
were fearless. I think more money needs to be put into grassroots football, and particularly for girls.
Yeah.
And it needs to be in primary schools. Girls are not allowed to play football in primary schools. Why? Girls should be given freedom to do whatever sport they want to.
I hear
And
you.
we proved we're better at it, particularly when it comes to football.
I knew I would get that. We've proved we're better at it. We're better than the men.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
fun fact. I actually represented RAF Nita Z at ladies football.
Did you?
Yeah. I was shit.
Who else played in that team with you?
Oh God, I haven't got a clue. Kieran McIntyre was the manager. And we went to some ladies tournament and all these girls came over from Germany with like vans full of Becks. And I think halfway through the first half, I went, I'm coming off. I'm drinking beer. I'm done. That was me.
That was it. You won an international cap or not for Nita's Ed. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. Oh, great. Right. Okay. So we're an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, goodness.
We're out of songs. I'm just about out of questions, but I thought I would ask you about Wigan.
Okay.
Because we've got quite a few people said they're coming now. We can use this to encourage other people to come. So, who else do you want to see there? Is there anyone?
Oh, goodness.
Well, I think we're going to have
I'd say
to ask
anybody who remembers me and likes me, but the place will your numbers will drop. I don't know, somebody, people who are willing to come and have a laugh and join in and, come up with ideas rather than one person just lead the way,
Yeah.
We're not going to leave it all down to you, Pinky, to sort out.
Well, do you know what? I've been talking to a few people about it, and it's just gonna be really simple. We're just gonna have we're just gonna go with like a point, a meeting place at a point in time for the Friday night and the Saturday, and that serves as a good point where everybody can get together at least at one point each day.
Yeah.
And then what will happen is these things. It's like certain groups will, it's the one thing that people will kind of talk to. Yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be cool.
Yeah.
Relaxed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
This will
looking
be the
forward.
first reunion I've been to, really. So, yeah, it'd be good if loads of people can go.
Yeah.
Not just because I'm going, obviously, but looks like a
Yeah.
good list so far.
One that you did. We went. There was one in at Buchan. Oh crikey! It'll be about 6 years ago now. But yeah, it'll be good. I've got just a few more comments come in there. Yeah, Frankie was Frankie saying, "No, he still is in a band, still active." Cranwell. They played a So What Metallica cover at Northwood. Check out the lyrics. All right. Mo said, "Great chat again. Great to see and hear from Billie again and learn about her journey." And Frankie said, "Oh, gutted, I can't make it. Oh, to Wigan. Another time, mate." All right. Listen, Billie Wilson was Kershaw. 1 hour and 21 minutes later, I've had a blast. Thank you so much. You've made me laugh. You almost made me cry at one point as well. These journeys full of ups and downs, right?
Yeah, totally.
What's next? What's the top of your bucket list?
Oh, well, 3 weeks today. I'm off on my holiday.
Where to?
I don't know. I'm just going to Mallorca for a week.
Yeah.
So that'd be quite nice. Top of my bucket list.
Yeah.
I actually want to do a little bit more long haul travel. But
okay.
Yeah. It's just getting the time, isn't it? Life gets in the way.
Well, it kind of does, but there's time between now and October. So when we catch up in October, you can tell me what you've done to apply your JFDI yourself and where you're going on your long haul holiday.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a target then, isn't there?
Yeah, because time does get in the way, but only if you let it.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah. Listen, thank you so much. Please stay on. We'll say good night to everyone else, but stay in the green room for 5 minutes and have a quick chat. But thank you to everyone that has tuned in tonight. We'll be back next week as well. Much thank yous. Much thank yous. I don't know what that means. Thank you very much indeed for coming on. It's been great. Thank you, Billie Wilson. Until next week, it's good night from me, and we shall speak to you soon.